Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be out here this morning and greeting you, bringing this message of emancipation to you, a message that would set you free. For this message is pointing you to look no other place but to look inwardly to discover your identity to be your divinity. That's the reason why I want to speak to you this morning concerning adultery. For I am on the 10 commandments, and this is the 6th commandment, that thou shalt not commit adultery. And many people all around the world, especially people who are religious and who believe that the Bible is literal and that the Bible is secular history, they also believe that the Bible is a book that is dealing with morality. Therefore, they interpret adultery and fornication as a part of their sexuality, and they look at it carnally from a carnal standpoint. So when they look at it sexually, let us first look into what they are really doing. They are actually going against their own existence, because we all came from sex, and it doesn't matter what condition or moral belief a person has. Once they have sex, they can bring forth. And it's the same bringing forth, it is the same act. So let us look at it from the standpoint of which I teach now. For I teach that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. For the Bible is not literal, neither is the Bible secular history. Therefore, my brothers and my sisters, I am teaching that everything have to first be a thought. Everything have to first be mental. Okay? Now, when you realize that everything have to be first a thought and everything have to first be mental, you come to realize that we are thought-evolved beings. That our mother and our father could not come together and have sex unless it was first a thought. So even those who believe that the Bible is literal and try to interpret the Bible as literal and try to use fornication and adultery as a sexual act, you have to realize that there can never be an act that wasn't first a thought. And all thought come from the spirit world. From the world of spirit, all thought is first invisible. And by acting upon that which you do not see, then it becomes visible or becomes a reality. Therefore, my brother and my sisters, when you look more deeply, you would realize that fornication and adultery was used to attack your sexuality and the freedom of using your sexuality or your sexual expression to create your reality consciously. Because the greatest power that you can use to achieve your every desire is the creative power, which is the sexual power. The sexual power is the creative power. Okay? So, my brothers and my sisters, this is the reason why I wrote a book called The Truth About Marriage. Because if you understand what I'm saying, you'll understand that marriage is just a business. You'll also understand that it is used against those who are ignorant, who believe that someone can give them permission to carry out such an act, which is a natural desire, just like eating is a natural desire, and drinking is a natural desire, because you have to quench the desire of thirst, and you have to quench the desire of hunger, and you have to quench the desire of sex also, which is a creative tool, because that's what brings us here. So, when it says about not committing adultery, it is when you have mixed thoughts, or when you are undecided, or you are double-minded, and you are not in oneness, you are not in union, you're not in togetherness with God, which is the higher self. It is the conscious and the subconscious mind not being in union. The subconscious mind is the female. The conscious is like the male, the masculine and the feminine. Whatsoever you sow, that also shall you reap. So marriage is dealing with union. So adultery and fornication have to do with whether you are in union or not in union with your innermost being. If you are aligned with the laws of the universe, if you are aligned with your higher self, or if you're not aligned with your higher self. Because if you're not aligned with your higher self, things are going to take place in your life that will going to bring discomfort to you. Because it means you will be still suffering from a mental disease. Because when you have the wrong concept or the wrong belief of these things, and not knowing that the Bible is your own biography and it all have to do with the anatomy of the body, you will live uncomfortably. But this life was made for us to enjoy, for us to prosper, for us to live in our higher self. Can't you look around you and see that there's abundance all around you? Can't you look around you and see that there's freedom all around you? The animals, the birds, the fishes, they're all in freedom. The only time an animal could be enslaved or imprisoned is when we imprison them. But they all want is freedom, this freedom of expression. And so we want to dwell in our higher self and have that freedom of expression where we can express ourselves whichever way that we feel pleasing to ourselves, and that would uplift our vibrational frequency. For everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. Therefore, my brothers and my sisters, we have to get ourselves aligned on the right frequency so that we would not commit adultery, because adultery is the same thing as idolatry. It is the same thing as going against yourself. It's going against the very first commandment. You would realize that all these other commandments is still pointing you back to the first commandment. So if you miss the first commandment, you'll miss all the other commandments. If you fail to realize who you are, if you fail to recognize your higher self, you'll never be able to understand these other commandments. So know thyself first would always be the law. Know thyself first will always be the greatest commandment. That's the reason why the one who comes to his Christ self, when he's asked a question, what is the greatest commandment, he will tell you, it is the first one. Love the Lord thy God first. Know thyself first. Discover thy first self. Thyself first, then you will be able to discover others. Then you'll be able to appreciate and love others. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's what I'm speaking about. There's only oneness. There's only one universal consciousness. Be part of that oneness. Be part of that universal consciousness. And stop committing adultery. That's why he said Israel spread the leg for every man that passes by and commit adultery. I would like a religious person to explain that for me. If Israel is a country in the Middle East, But for me, Israel means to rule as God, to discover yourself, to know yourself, to know who you are. But the Bible tells in many places that Israel committed adultery. They went after other gods. It means that their thoughts was not right. They were not well aligned. They were out of balance. They got caught up in conformation instead of transformation. That's the reason why you are told, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So my brother and my sisters, my encouragement to you is to renew your mind, renew your thinking. And when you renew your mind and renew your thinking, by first accepting yourself and loving yourself, and knowing that you're God in flesh, you are the I am that I am, knowing that you are the Lord and Master of your destiny, and that it is your thoughts that is creating your reality, and you can create your reality consciously, then you'll be able to align yourself and stop living in mental adultery, in psychological adultery. Because everything was false a thought. Everything was false an idea. Everything is false mental. So with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, I want to thank you very much. And if you really enjoy this message, I would encourage you to also share it. And it will be a good idea if you can hold a copy of my book, The Truth About Marriage, to even help you more on this topic of what is really adultery and how to understand the commandments. It would be a very good idea to do so, and to even share a copy with someone else. Also, I want to encourage you, if you haven't subscribed already, to subscribe and to like, comment, and share this message. Now, I want to encourage you also to follow me on Instagram at BlackMadGuru, and to also read my blogs on my website, BlackMadGuru.com. I do weekly blogs. Okay, right now I'm doing 1 blog a week, but I'm gonna increase it to 2, and I might go right up to 3 blogs a week. So I'm encouraging you to get, tune in and read these blogs to help to enrich your life and to help to uplift you and encourage you to be in the right atmosphere, to be in the right, vibrational frequency, feeding on this food all the time, because repetition is the key. Okay, so with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to just remind you, as usual, this message I bring to you is a single eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 teaches us if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. And I would have had the experience of the single eye when I wake within myself and became invisible after birth in my crown chakra. That's the reason why I always give you the symbol of the single eye, and letting you know that when you have the experience, you come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For you will come to realize that without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. So you would realize that the sun is the giver of all life. And you come to also realize that without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And the Bible refers to the sun as God in Psalms 84:11, saying that the Lord thy God is a sun, as in S-U-N, and a shield, and no good thing would he withhold from you. There's no good thing that the sun would withhold from us. The sun is what powers all of humanity and feeds us with everything we have. Okay? And we have to use this sun power by using our imagination. So my brothers and my sisters, the sun parallels the human imagination. The human imagination parallels the sun, as I would have said before. Let me just reiterate. For without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And the sun is what powers all of humanity. Therefore, my brothers and my sisters, my encouragement to you is to use your mind power which is your solar power, the sun power, that brings all increase and all abundance. Use that power to achieve your every desire. So with that, me saying, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.